This is KARE 11 Extras, and this time we're going the extra mile on the Medtronic Twin Cities Marathon. Throughout this episode, we want to give you a glimpse at what inspires people to go the distance on such a challenging goal. Often it's a very personal journey, but in the story we begin with, it's all about the good that can come to others. Near the shores of Forest Lake, Mike Kaiser finds his stride.
How's your knee feeling?
Not too bad.
Where he first found his calling.
I had gone for a run, and it was a time like this time of the year. It was stormy, there was trees down, and I thought on my run, hey, I could start a group of people that goes and helps people for free and just says, pay it forward, do something nice for someone else.
8 years later, the Forest Lake area Good Samaritans are still doing good.
We mow lawns, we do yard work.
They raise money to repair lawnmowers, cars,
We've given 23 cars away so far.
and also give hope.
We show up in the first 24 hours with gift cards for people that have just had a fire.
And what they do is also reflected in what Mike is training for. The Medtronic Twin Cities Marathon, which has 55 charity teams like
It's on my shirt.
the Forest Lake area Good Samaritans.
It's more than a marathon for the community. We know that.
Twin Cities in Motion President Dean Orton says they hope the Raise the Community Pace effort doubles the money raised by charity partners to $2.62 million each year by 2028, broadening their mission
More than ever, community needs connection.
well beyond the marathon.
So it's excited just to see what we can do with physical health, mental health, but even just societal health of connecting people.
People like Mike,
We jokingly call it the Ponzi scheme of love.
still finding a way to pay it forward,
I'm doing the full marathon.
one stride at a time.
It makes it more meaningful, it really does.
And I am so proud to be from Forest Lake when seeing the mission of the Forest Lake area Good Samaritans. Still ahead, a former Olympian running in this year's marathon speaks openly about an issue a lot of runners have faced in one form or another, but not a lot like to talk about.
I wasn't sure whether my life was ever going to be what it used to be or whether I could ever run again.
Running races is not for everyone, but we asked those who do it why they do it and got some touching answers. Brooke tells us she runs to keep herself, quote, above ground since her son's accident. And Sarah says she runs to remind herself she too can make it through hard things. Many runners face a problem not many like to talk about. It's an issue that can be embarrassing, and in the case you're about to hear, even threatens someone's ability to run a race at all. That is why a former Olympian running the Twin Cities 10-mile this year thought it was so important to share her story. Here's Rena Sargentopoulos.
The earliest memory I have of myself running is as a 10-year-old at Little Athletics.
Krishna Stanton started her running career in track. After winning a scholarship to the Australian Institute of Sport, things really took off for her.
1992 Barcelona Olympics was the last time the 3,000 metres was run for women, so I competed in the track there. It wasn't the best that I would have said I've ever run, but you know, once an Olympian, always an Olympian, I'm told.
Krishna would go on to have many better days than the 1992 Olympics. In 2001, her best friend convinced her to run the Sydney Marathon. The longer distance suited her.
And I actually won that marathon in a time of 2:38. And when I crossed the line, the media were there and they said, you qualified for the Commonwealth Games in Manchester in 2002.
And in that race in Manchester, her second ever marathon, she took the silver medal. But in 2005, Krishna was diagnosed with celiac disease. She would go on to have 5 bowel surgeries, and for the next 10 years, she stopped running.
What happened was that I was incontinent for so long that it destroyed all the nerves. You can tell that I've lost any inhibitions about talking about it now. I was wasn't sure whether my life was ever going to be what it used to be or whether I could ever run again.
She would run again, thanks to an implanted Medtronic nerve stimulator device. Her first marathon back was in 2016.
It's one of the highlights of my running career because it took so much persistence, perseverance, and trials and tribulations to get there.
After that, it was only up for her again. She's even set a world record for her age group since the surgery. And now she's coming to Minnesota on a mission that has nothing to do with running itself.
It really has given me the confidence, but also a new lease on life. I feel is why I'm speaking out now and so open to talking about this incontinence issue and what can be done for people, because unless I would have been given this opportunity, I wouldn't be able to run.
There are all kinds of health issues that can prevent people's dreams of running a marathon from coming true. But Rena goes on to show us how even a runner's serious heart problem turned out to be no problem with the help of some medical magic from Medtronic.
Midweek run is usually about 7. And then on the weekend, I'll do a long one.
David Kittleson has recorded more miles on these roads than a hand-me-down Ford. The now retired orthopedic surgeon started running back when he was a resident.
I ran my first marathon in 1989 up at Grandma's. It's a lot of work, and by mile 20, you say, I'll never do this again, this is awful. And then you cross the finish line, and it's such an exhilaration and so much fun. You know, after a while, when you're not hurting anymore, all of a sudden you're online signing up for another one. So.
Boy, did he ever. One right after the other. Throw in 13 full Ironman triathlons, half marathons, and countless other races, and you've got yourself a full-blown obsession.
And I think I'm up over 30 states now that I've run in.
And the hardware to prove it.
That big one on my right is my Hawaii Ironman one. That's always my favorite one.
Every race has a story.
Oh, but this was a fun one too.
Carlsbad, California on his 60th birthday. Grandma's marathon in the year 1990.
My wife and I met each other running that marathon, and so that was so marathon caused us to be a couple. Yeah, this is the one that my son and I ran together. He was only 15 at the time.
Most of the memories, as you would imagine, are good.
That was his first, and that was his last.
But there's one that almost changed everything.
That's the one where I was in the arrhythmia for the last 6 miles, and that's me kind of struggling near the end there.
Whistle Stop Marathon in Ashland, Wisconsin 4 years ago. After that, it was a stream of cardiologists and medical workups. In April of 2022, David had a Medtronic Cobalt defibrillator implanted.
We have an active lifestyle, my wife and I. We hike, we swim, we bike, we run, we do it all, and the thought that that could be taken away from me in my retirement was a very troubling thought.
But instead of taking it away, the defibrillator gave him back the ability to do what he loves. David started small and kept pushing his boundaries and testing his stamina.
I would go into one of these arrhythmias while we were biking, and I would barely even know I was in one. It would fix it so fast. It was just unbelievable.
Then the all clear came. He could run a marathon again. This time, David was seeking redemption, and he got it on October 12th, 2024.
Since Whistle Stop was the race where my heart really misbehaved and where I was really in sad shape finishing, that was the one I wanted to do first, just to prove I can still do it.
He sure can still do it. So now David's biggest worry is finding more room in his marathon scrapbook.
Now I'm fully confident. I've been given permission to do whatever I want to do. And so that's what we're doing. Throw these on. As I say, if you get to the start line, you will get to the finish.
Still ahead, too old to run a marathon? No way. If you ever needed proof that age is just a number, you're getting it coming up. Ever thought you could be too old to tackle running a marathon? Well, let me introduce you to two women who may have you thinking twice.
Leave it to a couple of ladies
who have a faster pace than I.
to show how a run along the St. Croix can help you reach the milestones of life.
My warm-up.
Meet 79-year-old Mary Croft. a retired public nurse and global marathoner.
I think 235, all 7 continents.
And the last woman to run every single Medtronic Twin Cities Marathon since it began in 1982.
Every year, every single year.
And speaking of resilience,
I ran every day, at least a mile.
74-year-old
Amen.
Julie Maxwell, a retired public defender, kept her running streak going for 33 and a half years.
Was mentioned by the U.S. Streak Runners Association.
2 ladies, both in their 70s, both proving the value of staying active as we age.
That's what we say, motion is lotion, so keep moving.
As a sports medicine physician at TRIA, Dr. Heather Bergeson says not everyone may be equipped to run marathons, but everyone can attempt 30 minutes of any physical exercise every day.
I love to see that variety and innovation and trying to build that into each stage of life.
And that's especially critical, Dr. Bergeson says, for women.
Cognitively, physically, it reduces the risk of dementia and the risk of diabetes and heart disease.
And then there's the benefit to our mental health, to which both these women can attest.
I've been through some pretty stressful times.
Julie says running remained her respite while caring for her mother with dementia.
I miss her so much.
And her husband with cancer.
That's what keeps me going.
A widow as well, Mary now finds motivation in her granddaughter.
She's pretty proud of me.
2 ladies proving that pride, persistence, and commitment
Yeah.
can carry you even on the course of life.
I feel so accomplished after each run.
Now, Dr. Bergeson says that we do also want to focus on strength training as we age. As for Julie and Mary, they both hope to run the Grandma's Marathon next year. When we come back, we sit down with the president of Twin Cities in Motion to talk about Medtronic Twin Cities Marathon this year. But first, more from Why I Run. Taylor tells us she's running to support Rough Start rescue animals. Amy says she's been running for charity since 2016. And another Taylor says, quote, I run so I can eat twice the amount of pizza. I'm with you, Taylor. We're back in a moment. We're back with more reasons runners take on the ultimate challenge of a marathon, or really any race. Lucas tells us he wants to be an example of commitment and hard work for his daughter. And Lisa says she's running in honor of loved ones who cannot. Such meaningful reasons for running. Now joining us right now is Dean Orton, the president of Twin Cities in Motion and obviously the leader of the Medtronic Twin Cities Marathon weekend. We are grateful to be hearing directly from you. What are you most excited about with this event?
Great to be with you. Yes, there's just a lot. It's in marathon proportion, right?
Yeah.
It's always, you always think about when you get this close to the marathon, you think about all those hard miles of training. Yeah. And it's not just the weekend. This is months of people's lives, energy, commitments, whether that's to get ready for a 5K or a 10 mile or the marathon. It just always catches you about, there's just such a commitment, not only by the runner, but those around them to give them the time and the resource and the support. So it's just exciting to think about all that hard work, and then how's it all gonna play out? What is the weekend gonna be like for 37,000 folks, and each one of them kind of have a story of what got them there, and you just want it to be a great day for them.
No question. And I ran this marathon many years ago. I know how beautiful it is. But what is it like to be the leader of it? Is it just challenge, or are you finding joy in what you experience and what you discover with the people who are participating?
Of course, leading any nonprofit is always a challenge, but absolute delight and really quite an honor. When you think about the huge tradition of the Medtronic Twin Cities Marathon weekend, it's going to be its 44th edition. It is internationally known, it is certainly nationally known, and it's such a huge part of kind of Minnesota.
Yes.
And to be a part of an incredible team, it's not just amazing staff, board, 4,000 plus volunteers, couple dozen government agencies. It's just an honor to be able to help support all of those folks who come together in times when it's not easy to find everybody to, make something like this happen. There's thousands of reasons why it shouldn't happen, in the sense of costs or complexity or all that kind of changes. But really, it's just an honor and a privilege, and it's amazing to be a part of supporting so many people and seeing what's possible when people come together.
I love that. It's so powerful. I know you mentioned before about this community event giving us a chance to come together really at a critical time. We have never perhaps been more divided as a greater community. What do you think about the fact that it is truly that unifying moment of celebration and achievement?
Yeah, well, thinking of one of the runners who she was asked about why she liked the weekend, and she said it in the sense of, if we could bottle up what happens on this weekend and spread this throughout the year, in the sense of how people come out with kindness and cheering and support, and it's not about anyone being able to beat anyone else, in the sense of they're all kind of collectively coming together for this moment to support each other, and the outcome and the spirit and the energy. She's like, if we could bottle that and spread it throughout the year, that's the kind of energy that they like to see and be a part of and create. Yeah. And it's like, that's kind of a really exciting way to think about it, and that's what kind of the weekend is. It's much more than the race itself.
Well, fortunately, this special will air beyond the weekend itself, so people can come back to it and find those moments of encouragement. We want to talk, though, about what is unique this year, what is new and different. I know you've made some changes. Can you share a little bit about those?
Yeah, of course, every year we're kind of trying to re-up and think about how do we make it better and stronger. I think more than ever, we're trying to make it as inclusive as we can with whatever skill levels, right? And so we have been one of the last marathons in the country to be at that 6-hour mark, but it was really important. We wanted to spend the time, energy, and kind of extra resources to add another 30 minutes. So now we're 6 hours and 30 minutes, which is a huge difference to allow people who maybe they're just needing that little extra time to say, yes, I can do it, but knowing, and we really wanted to make sure. So big change for us after 44 years that we add that extra amount of time. And we're going to continue to see what does that footprint need to be so you can kind of keep making that marathon dream come true for even a wider skill set. And so that's a big part of Cited this year. I love that we're having a record level of diaper dash. Yeah. On Saturday, it's the wide range that is exciting, but we're gonna have 100, crawling diaper dashers, and we've never had that many ever before. So many proud parents and caregivers, and just that energy. So to me, I love that there's more youth involved than ever before. Of course, 3 years ago when we started the Kids Run Free, huge influx now for the weekend. So all kids 18 and under through our TC Kids Run Free program. So if they kind of been thinking about it or wanted to try, just the energy that the youth bring now with the 5K, a 10K, they even have to run the marathon. Removing that barrier has just created that next generation. And they're going to take some life skills and some ideas of kind of being an active lifestyle. It's fun to think about how that will help them lifelong.
Yeah, persistence is so important.
So a lot of what's going on for the youth, certainly more time in the marathon. I love, a few years ago we started with the Diane and Alan Page Community Cheer Challenge. And for those who don't know, Justice Page is just an amazing ambassador. Ran our marathon, him and his late wife. Came out and he played the sousaphone, and they just cheered. They knew the value of community kindness, being out on the course, helping inspire the runners get through their challenge of running the marathon. And so now we're in year 3, going on year 4, and we've got over 55 different cheer zones now.
I love
so
that.
We got just added another level of kind of energy. So it's gonna be great to just see that next level of spaces where there's just more people, more energy.
And I love too that you said so often just there, kindness, and bringing that out in the community and how profound that is again right now. Runners, volunteers, participants, cheerleaders, as we're talking about, what do you recommend to ensure a good experience on this busy, beautiful weekend?
I would take a little time, go to our website, tcmevents.org. And just a little bit of planning helps you kind of navigate. If you are a spectator and you're going to cheer on and you've got a certain number of folks running and you want to keep, the app is really something that I would recommend downloading. It has a really great capability. You can kind of see where they're at, how they're doing. And that allows, more than ever, the spectators, the fans, to interact and know how they're doing on course, where they're at on course. And that app just gives you that ability then to know if you want to be here, then you've got time to get over and maybe see them in another location. But definitely would take advantage of the app if you kind of want to have a better sense of kind of all the information you need to know, and then also a better sense of tracking that loved one or that one that you're trying to hope having a good running day. So that would be definitely, and then make it more than just the event. Check out everything that's going on in our community. Minneapolis, St. Paul. We're so excited to think about all the ways you can enjoy the full weekend, and encourage just so many businesses right now are kind of rolling out red carpet, and they're kind of doing marathon weekend specials. So yeah, think about just going out, making a weekend of it, and making even more than just the event itself.
Well, we know this is a marathon experience for you, metaphor and pun intended. Dean, thank you so much for what you're giving to our community. Dean Orton, president of Twin Cities in Motion and leader of the Medtronic Twin Cities and Marathon, we wish you all the best with this exciting time. And thank you for joining us for this special coverage of the Medtronic Twin Cities Marathon 2025.